Gilgal Christian Center, where burdens roll away.
Amen. Brethren, wherever you are, I want to welcome you to Gilgal Christian Center live service. You probably are watching me on Facebook or YouTube live. You're welcome. I believe that wherever you are, distance is not a barrier. When the Spirit of God wants to move, as He wants to move now, I can already see the angels of God entering. God will use whatever medium to locate you. Amen. So it shall be today in Jesus' name. For some of you that know me a little bit, I don't get carried away by rituals. I believe picking a day to celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ is a ritual, it's a tradition. I don't do any stuff like that. Picking a day to celebrate the birthday of Jesus is a ritual. It's not my style. If you only pick a day in a year to celebrate Jesus, then there's a problem. Every waking moment of your life, you should celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So are you telling me that after this weekend, that's it? There's no more, you don't remember Jesus anymore? Every day you wake up, besides that is not an ordinance. Christ did not say celebrate my birthday, celebrate my death and resurrection. It's not an ordinance. But you don't need to choose a day, a particular day, and say today I do Easter. No. If you know who you are in Christ, every waking moment of your life is an opportunity to celebrate Jesus Christ for what He did for you and I on that cross. Is an opportunity to celebrate the power of God that brought Him out of the grave. Because of that power, that is why you and I are alive today. Because He didn't die. That's why you cannot die before your time. Because there was a power that took Him from the grave. That's why that power operates in you and I. And that no matter, I can feel so much power coming.
Hallelujah.
Shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So you need to understand this. That power that brought Him out of the grave is in you and I. That power is what quickens your mortal body. It quickens your spiritual self. It makes you to be in conformity with the plan of God for your life. That's why if you believe you're a child of God, you know you're a child of God, you cannot die before your time. The enemy cannot kill you before your time. It's impossible. Yeah, you will die, but it will not be an untimely death. If you believe you're a child of God, the enemy cannot cage you forever. It's impossible for you to be dominated by darkness. I said here on Wednesday last week when we were doing our Bible study, I said, look, there are people, as a child of God, you pass through darkness. Keyword, pass through. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for the Lord is with me. But as a child of God, you cannot be dominated by darkness. That was why Colossians chapter 3, the Bible said, Jesus, by hanging on the cross, He blotted away the handwriting of ordinances that were against and contrary to you, and now they've been requested, having spoiled principalities and powers, He made a public show of them, triumphing over them in it. Meaning, by hanging on that cross, He took all. He blotted out every judgment that was against you. Not only that, He brought principalities and powers to their knees and made what? A public show of them. Meaning that no power that is fighting against you can dominate you. The enemy will come, but he can never dominate you. Because the power that brought you out of the grave is in you. Is in me. That's why Jesus said, greater things you will do because I go to my Father. When He came, I said, I go to my Father. Meaning that what I've done, you will do even greater things. Why? Because I release unto you power. That power when Jesus was taken out of the grave. So I don't know who you are listening to me right now. It is not because of who you are. It's not because of who I am. It's because of what Jesus Christ did for us on that cross. It's what he did. And it's also what God did by bringing him out of the grave. The Bible says even the grave could not hold him down. The grave had no power over him. If the grave could not hold Jesus Christ, if the grave had no power over him, it means that the power of the grave is dead in your life. The power of the grave is dead in your health. The power of the grave is dead in the works of your hand. In your marriage, the power of the grave is dead in the life of your children. Even in the church of God, Gilgal Christian Center, the enemies are fighting tooth and nail. The power of the grave is dead in Gilgal Christian Center. Why? Because it's not us. It's not me. It had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with the one that brought Jesus out of the grave. That's what the Bible says, even in the grave, my Jesus is Lord. Even in the grave, my Jesus is Lord. My soul magnifies the Lord. And my spirit praise his name. For then could not hold him captive. Even in the grave, Jesus is Lord. Even in the grave, Jesus is Lord. My soul. And my spirit praise his name. For death could not hold him captive. Even in the grave, Jesus is Lord. Even in the grave, Jesus is Lord. Imagine the one that descended was also the one that ascended. The Bible in fact descended. Why? And took captivities captive and took the key of hell and death from Satan. He took the key of hell and death from Satan. I said it last Friday. I said, because Jesus took the key of hell and death from Satan, that key the enemy has used to lock your home, to lock your marriage, to lock your health, to lock your finances. That key, that is called the key of hell and death. But you have to understand, Jesus already taken the key of hell and death from Satan. All you need to do is to exercise dominion as a child of God. If you do know that you're a child of God, and command the key of hell and death, the enemies have you to lock your destiny, to break a shutter, and they will obey you. Why? Because Jesus has already done it. What Satan does is to find out if you know what Jesus did. Because ignorance is no excuse. And when the Bible says, those that do know their God, they shall be strong. And they shall do what? Exploits. The key word, the key phrase, do know. Do you know your God? Satan still brings bondage upon us. Satan still brings accusation upon us to test us to see whether we do know our God. Even if Satan could tempt Jesus Christ when he knew he was God. Remember, Satan knew Jesus from the beginning. And yet he still had the God to go and tempt him. Can you see why many children of God fail? Going to church, read the Bible is not enough. They still want to know whether you know that Jesus took the key of hell and death from him. Imagine Satan coming with a fake key. Fake one. He brought a fake, not the real key of hell and death, because Jesus took it. He brought a fake one to camouflage, to wave it, and you say, I have locked you up. And what do? You get afraid. Oh my God, the doors are locked. But if only you know that that key is not real. In fact, the door is not really locked. It's because you think it's locked. God will help us. Shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But the key question I want to ask before I leave this place is this. How deep is your knowledge of God? How deep is your knowledge of God? We can dance. We can celebrate. Whenever we celebrate Easter like this, the whole church, people that never went to church for a year will go to church. Just like the end of the year, like the 1st December. People that will stay for a year never go to church. That day, they will go. Why? They are going to beg God, please God, next year, make it better. That is the problem we have. And when that day is over, we go back our normal ways, the way we used to behave before. It's the same thing that is happening at Easter. You see, some people are becoming so holy these last, 2-3 days. People that never go to church, they will go to church. My Roman Catholic brothers and sisters, this week they will be very holy. They carry the rosary. If you had a girlfriend, you don't touch your girlfriend during this, Holy Week. If you to steal, you don't want to steal this Holy Week because you want to be holy, for God. When the Easter day is over, you go back to your normal ways of life. Does that make sense to us? All these things we talk about, death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, will not make meaning, will not impact your life, unless you have a deeper knowledge of God. Last week Sunday, I started a series on the law of profundity. I said profundity means depth. The Lord gave me this law as part of the 7 laws of a prosperous Christian. The law of depth, if you want to call it that way, revolves around your knowledge of God, your relationship with God, and who God is to you. I said last week, you can quote the Bible. You can even read the Bible from the beginning till the end, yet you don't know God. You can preach powerfully. When people hear or listen to your message, they fall on the ground, yet you do not know God. Knowing God is not about how many days you go to church or you know the work of God. Knowing God is not about how long you've been born again. Some people will tell you, do you know when I came to Christ? You're a small boy. Some people will say, I preached this gospel for 40 years. You were not even born that time. Oh, stupid. You think that knowledge of God, relationship with God, is a function of how many years you preach the gospel? Some will say, my church, I have 10,000 members. Oh, please, stop deceiving yourself. The gift of God is without repentance. You might have started very well in ministry. And because you have seen wealth and fame, you derail from the truth. What you are doing is that you are basking in old glory. You don't even know who God is. Somebody that is not a pastor, that might not have a member in a church, can have a deeper relationship. Somebody that came to Christ just yesterday could have a deeper relationship, could know God much more than you. Celebrating Easter will not take you to heaven. Celebrating Easter will not bring impact to your life unless you know God. I said one of the ways that God, people, when we talk about knowing God, let me summarize quickly what we did last week. People think that it's about miracles. If you have miracles in your life, oh, you know God. No. When God answers a prayer, oh, yeah, I know. No. People, equate church membership to the knowledge of God. Our belief is that a pastor that has 50,000 members must be such a powerful son or daughter of God. No. That's not true. Knowing God is how you obey Him. The Bible says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. How does God talk to you? Do you still hear from God? The Bible is one of the ways that God speaks to His children. But that's not the only way. God still speaks in dreams, audibly, in revelations to His children. Does God still speak to you? Can you hear the voice of God? And even if you do hear, can you even recognize that voice? Isaiah 30, verse 21. It said, the Lord will give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, but your teacher will no longer hide himself. With your own eyes, you will see him. And whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear his command behind you. This is the way, walk in it. This verse really humbles me. It sobers me up. No matter what you go through, he said, if you know God, you will hear his voice behind you, telling you, go this way or that way. This is a child of God that is led by the Spirit of God must hear from God. In that book of Psalms, he said, I've seen the Lord always beside me. For he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. A child of God will feel God. With his right hand, left hand behind. Hearing, seeing. It's not enough to see or hear. But do you obey? Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. The reason you are hearing from God is that God wants to instruct you on the way you should go. Psalm 32 verse 8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. The one with a deeper knowledge of God, relationship with God. Listen to the voice of God. Receive instruction from God. Jah will guide you. That's what the Bible said. The steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. Meaning God said, I will guide you. Even if you are going through the shadow of the valley of death, you will fear no evil. Why? Because the Lord is with me. I will guide you. A child of God is guided by the power, the Spirit of God. Even when you are going through stuff in your life, and listen to me, situations will come. Having a deeper knowledge of God does not mean that you will not go through adversity. It's in the midst of adversity that you actually experience God. If you don't know the one that's calling you, if you don't know the one that's speaking to you, it will be difficult to obey him. Quickly, because of our time, I want to know this. When you have a deeper relationship with God, when you know God for who he is, nobody will constantly preach to you to shun sin and present your body as a living sacrifice. I said this last week. Nobody. You won't be constantly preached to by a pastor, by whoever, to shun sin. Well, if you know God, the world will not lead you away. What the world considers good, if it's against the principles and precepts of the Word of God, that cannot take you away. You will understand that this cannot be of God. A person who has a deeper knowledge of God, relationship with God, will know what is good and what is wrong. Even when every other person believes is right. Even when authority in a city that you live believes it is right, you would know. Don't need authority. You don't need the law of the land you are in to tell you this thing is bad or good. When you know God, nobody will tell you that. I talked about Joseph last week. When Potiphar's wife tempted him, most people in his situation will have fallen. Most Christians, most pastors. But why did he not fall? Because he had an intimate relationship with God. He said, no, I cannot do this and sin against my God. He knew God. As appealing as that encounter was, he knew God. A person with a deep-seated knowledge of God is the one that set himself apart as the vessel of honor unto God. Daily cleansing himself outside. Daily dwelling in the things that are right. Daily seeking the direction from God. Deeper knowledge of God. When you know God, nobody will have to convince you that God is real. Or that God is still powerful. And all powerful for that matter. When you know God. Some people, we are in an era in Christendom where it is difficult to even believe that God has power. Because you go to any church, you don't see demonstration of power. The Bible said the kingdom of God is not in food and bread and drink only, but in what? In demonstration of power. But where do you go now to see that demonstration of power? Nearly impossible to see that. And that's why Christians don't believe God is all powerful any longer. Because we're taking Christ out of Christianity. We do to please the world. We're taking prayer out of our life. If you go to a church that prays powerfully, people run away and say, this is America. Please, I didn't bring in this African stuff. Why? They want to go where they read the organ and they dance. Oh my God, that church was so powerful to the pastor. Oh my God, that's all. Because they don't know who God is. They cannot understand that God is real. When you have the full knowledge of God, you will not wait for a preacher to convince you that God honors his words more than his name. How weak is your faith? It's because you don't know God. You have no intimate relationship with him. Do I need to convince you that God honors his word more than his name? That is his word, by the way. He said, I honor my word more than my name. Has God spoken to you? And can God not bring it to come to pass? Is he able to do what he says he will do? When you are going through stuff, it feels impossible that the word of God is true. It is impossible because you don't know who God is. You don't believe him. You have no relationship with him. I laid the foundation that going to church, speaking in tongues, even prayer, preaching the gospel does not make you, or does not make you to know God. Yeah, those things could come also from knowing God. But taking that as number one, primarily, is not a way to know God. If it's coming from your knowledge of God, from relationship with God, that's so good. God promised David. I use this especially a good example. He said, your child will rule over you. When David was about to die, it was literally impossible. Even David himself, on his deathbed for God. Why? Because his other child, not the right one, organized himself and wanted to make himself king. In fact, already went to a place and declared himself king. Because God did not just say your child, he said the one that will rule over him or rule after him. He took the wife of or the mother of Solomon to go to David. He said, no, my Lord, wake up. You are about to die. Have you forgotten what the Lord promised us? That my son will rule after you. The other one has already proclaimed himself king. That was when, we shared this several times here. Thank God for mothers. Sometimes mothers can be. She put things together, got the prophet involved, and they declared, and David proclaimed his son Solomon king. It came to pass that Solomon became king. Why? Because God had already spoken that Solomon would become king after David. But listen to me. The very fact that God spoke already meant that Satan will fight that. Anything that carried the mark of God will receive an attack. God spoke, Satan rose up and said, you know what? Let me see how that will come to pass. Let me see. Even though he knew that God had spoken. But when you believe, no matter what the situation is, no matter how dark it is, it can never continue and remain dark. Every darkness gives way to daylight. Every darkness you see must come to an end, and darkness must begin. No matter how dark, there will always be a daylight. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. When you know him, you will not need to be persuaded to love and obey him. If you love me, you will keep my commandment. A deep knowledge of God unwraps the ability to love yourself first, to love others, even people you believe have hurt you badly, and to know the true meaning of love. If you know him, loving people that hurt you is an offshoot of your love for God. You think it's easy to love somebody that hurt you badly? It is very difficult. It's the most difficult thing to do. To love somebody that hurt you badly. And God said, love them anyway. With their imperfection, love them. I first love you. But it will be impossible to do so until you learn to love God first. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Even as a pastor, it's difficult. Unless you love God first. And loving God first comes from your intimate relationship with him. Otherwise, it will be difficult. We might pretend to love God. That's why you see pretenses everywhere in the church. They think that they love God. Some people come to church because of what they came from the pastor or from the church. If the church is helping them one way or the other, they want to go there. Not because they love God. Not because they want to worship God. Some people go to church as I said it last week, a tradition. The parents used to go to that church, maybe this church or sister church, A church, B. Or when I was growing up, I used to go there. Even though you know that they are not teaching you the right things, it's a tradition. You want to be seen to be going to church on Sundays. Not because you love God. You cannot say you love God. And a time like this, even though we are told to stay at home, you cannot log onto your Facebook or YouTube to listen to the word of God. There are people right now who are even members of this church who are on their Facebook or YouTube or Netflix watching movies, carnal movies. But they know there is a Facebook live, YouTube live message going on. They use this opportunity, they are so free. I don't need God. But tomorrow they go to Facebook and pick a verse from the Bible. For God so loved the world, and he said, oh God, please stop deceiving yourself. Do you love God? Some people are staying at home. Some of you are still earning income. But you cannot call the church and say, church, pastor, how do we pay our tithe or send our offering since we are staying at home? Many are so happy. I don't have to go to church to pay tithe or give offering. But you know you are still earning income. And you don't care. You say, how would the bill of the church be paid? The rent, the light, and all of that. Now that there are no people going to church, and you say you love God. You say you love God. He doesn't make you feel bad that the church of God is not going the way it's supposed to go. The work of God is not flowing the way it's supposed to flow. You say you love God. You don't say hurt you to see the other person going the the wrong way. How many times do you preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to your neighbor, to your friend at work, because you don't want people to know that you're a child of God? And Jesus said, if you deny me before men, I will deny you before my heavenly Father. And you say you love God. That's why it's difficult for you to love even yourself, because you can't even love God. Many marriages are just shambles. Not love in marriage because they don't love God first. When you know God, if you have a deep partnership with God, nobody will teach you, nobody will preach to you to love God. Nobody will preach to you to obey Him. It comes out of your deeper knowledge of God, who God is to you. You don't need a pastor to tell you that. That man rose up and said, I must build Jerusalem. Oh my God. The city of Jerusalem. Nehemiah. The city is in ruins. Nobody told him. Do you know why? When you love God, you want to rise up to fight for God. When you love God, anything that is not going right that concerns God will get you angry, will provoke you to action. He said, no, I need to rise up and build the ruins of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is in ruins. Oh my God. He was troubled. He wept. I want to build Jerusalem. You see people that say, I love God, nothing concerns them about the work of God. Even if they just shut their doors, who cares? I can move on to the next church. What makes you think that next church is not the same thing you will do? Nothing of God that gets you angry. You want to do something to provoke God. Shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We could say a lot, but our time is up. Our time is up. I don't know how I feel in my spirit. When you have a deep-seated knowledge of God, you will know how to thank and worship Him for everything that happens in your life. We love to worship God when things are okay. When things are good. You will know that God of the mountain is the God of the valley. You will know that God of the night is the God of the day.
Yeah.
You will know that the God of the good times is the God of the bad times. And He maketh all things perfect in His own time. You will understand that when things are bad, that is the time to worship God. Because you know that God is turning things around. That's why we say, I can see everything turning around. Everything turning around. Everything turning around. Oh. How can you see? It doesn't mean that it has turned around. It's because you can see. Why? It's you're using the eyes of faith. You believe God will do it. He did it before. He can do it again. Nothing is impossible before my God. He's the God of impossibility. The one that divided the Red Sea. Any Red Sea in your life will be divided. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. The Bible says He changed it now. If He did it before, He will do it again. I always tell people, I say, my God is the God of precedent. If He did it before, He will do it again. And that's what is the reason to thank God in adversity. A reason to worship God when things don't go right in your life. It comes out of a deep-seated knowledge of God. Because you know it will get better. David, I love this man. He was blessing God, worshiping God. The wife, the daughter of Saul, excuse me, told David, why do you disgrace royalty? Eh? What's wrong with, are you a king? You on the street dancing like a commoner. Abba, you are disgracing me now. David looked at her and said, look, you woman, please get out of me. I must dance to my God. What is royalty? Who makes me royal anyway? Is it not God? It can come only out of a deep-seated knowledge of God. It is because they do not know God. When you know Him, you will know that it is not by might, not by power, that you excel in life. Finally, I'm going to stop here. Many of us, when things go well with us, you forget where you came from. You forget. When you want to explain things to people, you are telling people how intelligent. Oh man, when those things went that way, I sat down one day and it came to me. You know, I know that I could. You are telling people how shrewd you are, how well put together, how you can strategize. You are so intelligent, powerfully connected, and before you do it, things turn around. And that is why you see many big men and big women, in parentheses. In Africa, we say big man and big woman. Not fat one, I'm talking about big. Rich. Okay, madam. They hardly go to church. If you trace the history of their life before they became successful, they were living in the church. The moment things turn around, if the wife even say, hey, honey, let's go to church. No, you know I have a business meeting, please. I'm very occupied this Sunday, maybe next Sunday. This is when we're having a business meeting on Sunday. You forget God. If you forget where you came from, if you forget who pulled you out when you were stuck, it will be difficult without the mercies of God, because it will happen again. One thing I always tell my wife, and I remind myself every day, is that do not ever forget where we were and how God pulled us through. Do not ever forget. Because I can never forget in my life how I started in life, what I've gone through in this world, in this Charlotte, North Carolina. And I can never forget that everything I ever achieved has been because of the powerful hand of God. It takes the deeper knowledge of God to know it is God that makes you who you are. Otherwise, you think that you make yourself. When that rich wealth comes, will you remember God? Some of you right now, you are praying to God to bless you. Some people that are here today, I say this all the time. When you were back home in Africa, you were carrying a microphone every morning to preach the gospel. Before you came to America, when you wanted to come here, you were sleeping on the mountain, praying, fasting. You were going to church. And the pastor said, come to church every Sunday by 9. By 6 a.m. you are there, cleaning the whole church. You climb the altar and clean everything. You go and visit that brother, that sister. You are not resting throughout the week. You are doing the work of God with power because you want God to remember you. Now that you are here, do you know what you do? You are going to 3-4 jobs. Even when they don't call you to come on Sunday, you want to go on Sunday because you need that extra hour. God has been thrown out of your life. Can you see how quickly you can forget God? It's because you don't. Even when you were back home, you did not know God. You were pretending. I don't preach this message to make you happy. I don't preach this message to make you jubilate. I preach this message to get you angry. If by getting angry you will look inward, soberly reflect, and let the Spirit of God take hold of you, I will have achieved my aim. And I believe that wherever you are this morning, you want to make amends. It is time to understand the law of the depth the law of profundity and what it would take you to get into a deeper relationship with God. We're going to continue in this series as the Lord leads us. Wherever you are, in the comfort of your home, raise your two hands and tell the Lord, Father, I repent of the ways that failed you. Even the promises I made, the vows that I made that I have not kept, I repent of them. Your word is supposed to do with joy. No matter the price I have to pay, that I'm not done, I repent of them. All the ways I failed you, oh God, in sins, in my actions, my inactions, oh God, forgive me and have mercy. I want you to begin to talk to God right now. Then the power of God to reset into your life afresh. A new beginning. You want to have an intimate relationship with God. You want to know Him more. The song says, so that I can know Him more. Paul said that he wanted to know God more. Even though he had been with God for that long, he still yearned to know God more. And the power of His resurrection. We talk about restoration today. What does the power of restoration mean to you? You need to know God and the power of resurrection and the benefit of His suffering. You need to know Him more. Hey! What is the power of restoration unto you? Can you appreciate His suffering on His way to the cross, even on the cross? Can you even understand what that means? You need an intimate knowledge of Him to appreciate and understand, and for this to be of impact in your life. I pray the Lord that has called you at a time like this will visit you. Every person under the sound of my voice. And where the relationship was imperfect, He will make it perfect by His mercies. And open your eyes and your ears to begin to hear, to begin to see, begin to understand, and begin to have an intimate relationship with God. That the power of resurrection will be of meaning unto your life. And you begin to operate in that power, move mountains, pull through captivities, and put enemies to shame. Because the time has come for the name of God to be glorified. It is a time for war. God is looking for warriors. Pray that God will enlist you. You'll be one of the end-time warriors. Those that will make impact for God. Let thy kingdom come. Let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God needs end-time warriors. Tell God to use you. For the time has come. Holy Spirit, we worship and we honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
At Gilgal Christian Center, 4416 Monroe Road, Charlotte, North Carolina 28205. Gilgal Christian Center, where burdens roll away. Gilgal Christian Center, a deliverance and prayer ministry.